TK, the Raisin Man.
All right, back here with the Tennessee Titans, man, to wrap up the AFC South. And number one pick in the draft, you see him right there on the screen, Cam Ward, with his new coach, Brian Callahan, and trying to turn this Tennessee Titans team around, who went 3-14 last year, only projected at 5.5 win total. But they have a favorable schedule, if you want to call it that. We'll take a look at that later. But it was a struggle for the Titans last year, and they have hope. We got high hopes. So you got, Cam Ward, you got a new coach. You had, we'll look at the draft, look at who they added in there, man. But with this Tennessee Titans team, expectations are obviously low, but it's all about number one, wearing number one. That guy right there, man, Mr. Cam Ward, man. But what's your thoughts, man, about the Tennessee? What are you guys' thoughts on Tennessee and the overall outlook for this team and what they did last year and how they got to the point that they are in now?
I just think Tennessee, man, when they didn't, keep that team together, when they had Vrabel, when they was making those deep playoff pushes and they didn't keep that team together, this is the result of a rebuild, and they haven't rebuilt correctly. Maybe with that guy in the picture, number one, Mr. Cam Ward, they could get back on track. But this is just a team that's in disarray. They got rid of Derrick Henry. They haven't had a great run game since. They got rid of A.J. Brown. The passing game hasn't been good since. And they've been trying to fill in quarterbacks. Malik Willis, miss. Will Levis, miss. Offensive line hasn't been the same. The defense hasn't been the same. This is a team that needs to get back to their identity, running the ball and playing very good defense. Hopefully they don't do the same thing to Cam Ward that they did with Malik Willis and Will Levis and, put them in a situation where it's not beneficial to them. They can't succeed. So this Tennessee Titans team, man, it's a ray, man. I don't know, Coach. What you think about them?
No, I'm with you, man. You got to hope that, with the new quarterback, new staff, you can get re-energized, the organization, the fan base, and, slowly build it back to, where it was headed before. But, it's going to be a long process. It's going to be a hard one. But, Tennessee has the patience. Then, I think quarterback-wise, they did hit it right. I think they did get the right quarterback. So, but, once we break down the roster and the schedule, we'll have a better outlook. But I think right now, I think they're headed in the right direction, especially playing in the AFC South, as we already broken down, much of the division. If they can get a few wins within the division and steal a win or two here with their schedule, and their future is bright. So I'm not projecting them to make the playoffs. No, but you had 3 wins this year. Can you double that to get to 6 wins? Because that's showing a progression. And are you competitive in your games, whether you're playing any of the elite teams in the league, or teams within your division? Are you competitive there? Which sends a strong message, going forward.
Yeah, man. But when you win 3 games, you definitely have you're gonna have roster turnovers. So let's take a look at some of the moves that were made, starting with some of the guys that left or that were lost here. Yeah, man. Again, coach always saying about the offensive line, man. All these teams with their offensive line, man. Not too bad for the Titans. But they did lose Nicholas Pete Faree, Logan Bruss, Daniel Brunskill, Dylan Redunce on the offensive line. Harold Landry gone to the Patriots. Kenneth Murray Jr. traded to the Cowboys. Cornerback Chidobe went to the Ravens. And your boy Nick Westbrook went to the Dolphins. Tyler Boyd still a free agent. He's gone, but so a lot of turnover here. Mason Rudolph back to the Steelers. Played a couple games for the Titans last year, but who's gonna hurt the most, man? Or if anybody, man? Talk about some of the losses that they had here, fellas.
Look, I think they lost a very good player, Nick Westbrook and Keeney. That was their deep threat. I think they lost a very, very good player there. Tyler Boyd, very good slot receiver, but never came to fruition over there. What he did in Cincinnati with the Titans. Man, these AFC people do not like offensive linemen. Like, man, their whole interior and their tackle. Then they lost Harold Landry, their best pass rusher. They lost Jerome Baker, their best linebacker, and their second best linebacker, Kenneth Murray. They lost one of their best DBs in the Woozy, and they lost one of their best safeties, Quandre Diggs. Hell, they lost both kickers, the punter and the
exactly.
Like, man. Wow. Sheesh. I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. What's your thoughts, Coach, man, looking at this list, man? What stands out to you?
Nothing much. It's just like, all right, you lost a lot of bodies, so I get that. But, were they really game changers?
Impactful.
I mean, look, you tackle, you lost. Who went to the 49ers who was still waived.
Still got waived June 3rd.
Okay. That and I'm not trying to make light of their organization. I mean, it was tough. I don't know about the injury situation, how that played a role, but we all know quarterback play is a big factor. So we'll see as they're going forward. But there's nothing on here that just really, you want to say Harold Landry, okay. The kickers, like Pat said, both of them. I've never seen both starting kickers. But you have a new coaching staff, so you're affording people new opportunities. So
most definitely. Well, let's see who they added. They brought in some people too, man. So shout out to them. Tyler Lockett, 1 year deal, $4 million deal. Van Jefferson. So they added some weapons for their new future quarterback. Also, Kevin Zeitler, man. Kevin Zeitler is still a very good guard. So they did, and Dan Moore Jr. signed a 4-year, $82 million deal. So they did add to the offensive line. Oh, Lorenzo Carter. Bringing him in on the defense. Jermont Jones, outside linebacker. Sebastian Joseph Day re-signed.
Former Scarlet Knight.
Yeah, man. And Cody Barton signed a 3-year, $21 million deal. So they did add some pieces to their defense. Carlos Watkins signed there as well. Talk to us, man, about what they did bring in to help out this team, man, to replace some of the losses that they had. Because they did have a lot of losses, man, but they did replace some of those guys. What's your
I
thoughts?
have to say, even though I'm not high on this team, I like what they did in free agency. They went trenches in the free agency. They did. They signed 2 starting guards, starting tackle, a good rusher in Draymond Jones. Sebastian Joseph Day is pretty good. Cody Barton is good at the linebacker position. So they had a pretty exciting offseason. They lost 1 million people and signed 1 million people. So I like the Tyler Lockett signing. Veteran guy in the room to help out. The guy that we're going to talk about in the draft that they picked up, number 1 overall. It's not something that you can be like, man, they had a huge free agency, but they had a decent free agency. It looks like they had a plan. I can give them that. Looks like they had a plan. I'll give them that.
Coach, what you got?
I'm gonna start with, I always start with the trenches, but I'm gonna hold off on that, and I'm gonna start really with the quarterbacks. You got 2 quarterbacks who can come in and mentor your rookie quarterback. That's key. That's very important, for the development of your quarterback. Now, I'm not saying those 2 can replace him if he, God forbid, were to go down for any reason, but you got guys who are out there who can see the field, and when he comes to the sideline, they can talk to him. Hey, this is what's going on. This is what you're seeing, which will help in his game development. So, Lockett, good signing. Jefferson, good signing. The offensive line, definitely key. That's definitely what you need. That'll help a young quarterback, as he develops. Even the defensive side of the ball with Day, with Jones, even Carter. Carter, if he's healthy, can be a serviceable defender. So, you had, 1 resigning and 2 resigning and 1 new signing in Carlos Watkins. So, heck, we joked about the kickers. You brought in kickers as well as a long snapper. So you really focus on your special teams too. That let's not sleep on that. So they're refreshing the whole organization from your coaching staff to your quarterback to the other key players on at other positions. So hey, like I said earlier, you had 3 wins. Can you at least double it and be competitive? That's a very important element to building a true organization.
Yeah, man. I definitely think that they could that they did add some pieces here. Especially, man, you gotta help out. Number 1, man, you gotta help out the future of your franchise, man. Sneaky signing, man, Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett, man. I think he can definitely be a guy, a reliable target. Let's put it like that. Somebody reliable, a veteran, somebody solid. That's gonna be in the right spot at the right time, man. I like what they did here as well. Now let's see what they did in the draft. We know the obvious one, man. Mr. Cam Ward, taking number 1 overall. Future of the franchise. I thought it was the right pick. It was the obvious pick. It was the only pick the Titans could have made. And they did the right thing by taking Cam Ward. Olawufemi Oladejo, aka O2, man, my dog, man. Edge out of UCLA. Got to speak to him at the Senior Bowl, man. Definitely gonna add to that pass rush group, man. Of course, they losing Harold Landry. Moving on. So they get O2. Kevin Winston Jr., safety out of Penn State. Cameron Dyke, coming from Florida, the Gators, Pat's Gators, man. Wide receiver, man. Nice prospect there. Gunnar Helm, tight end. Underrated prospect, man, I will say, man. Pretty decent tight end from Texas. And then they got Elick Ayomano Manor from Stafford, Jackson Slater, offensive guard from Sacramento State, Marcus Harris, cornerback from California, and running back Kaylee Mullins from Michigan. So pretty good draft, I will say, for the Tennessee Titans, man. But what are your guys' thoughts on the draft? And talk about some of the prospects, man, that you think can have a impact going into the season for the Titans.
Well, we all know the number one pick, Cam Ward, has to have the biggest impact. That's out of the question. He has to have the biggest impact. But I like what they did in the draft. I like O2. Like we said, shout out to him. We spoke to him at the Senior Bowl. Very great interview. Check that out right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. Kevin Winston Jr., tough safety, can play all over the field. Like him out of Penn State, man. He's going to be a good one. Chimere Dike, I think he can develop into a receiver that Cam Ward can depend on. I truly believe that. Let him develop and let him go out there with Tyler Lockett and do some things. Gunnar Helm, reliable tight end, the guy that you could throw to, and, get those tough yards to move those chains. He's one of those guys that you can get to do that as well. Alec Ayomana, inconsistent, but when he's on, like he cooked Travis Hunter when they played Colorado. Man, he embarrassed Travis Hunter out there. You got Jackson Slater, who's developmental out of Sacramento State. I think he can actually develop into a good guard given a chance. Those cornerbacks from California, Cal always has good secondary. When you get a secondary player out of Cal, normally they turn out to be solid at the very least. And let's see what Khalil Mullins can do as that third down back out of Michigan. I actually like what they did with this draft. They got a lot of pieces to develop. Hopefully they have the people there, Brian Callahan and the coordinators and position coaches to develop these guys. This is a developmental draft. Even O2 was developmental. I don't think he's reached his pinnacle of what he can become because I think he could be dominant. I think he could replace Harold Landry if he's developed. But Coach, what you think, Coach?
Great breakdown, man. Cam Ward, what can we say? We everyone has dissected him enough, so we all know what he is about, and it's about make sure he has the resources around him to develop into one of the top quarterbacks. O2 coming from UCLA. I mean, they don't forget there was that time that they were leading all of college football in sacks and pressures. They were definitely up there. Winston Jr. Penn State. They just always seem to have good defenders over there at Penn State. So, DK, developmental good receiver, Helm, tough, competitive. I love Ayo Manor. I've always loved him, watching him down there at Stanford. He's a big body receiver, man. But when you refine his route running, and I think that's the thing that you got to do because he's not a speed burner. But, if you refine his route running and, those jump balls, that's where he prospers a lot. So the little bit of film I've seen on Slater, Pat said it, he's a developmental type of a player, playing at Sacramento State. Now, the only question I have is, does he become a deer caught in the headlights? So, stepping up in the caliber of talent that he's been playing at the FCS level. Harris, yes, he's someone who, tough, fundamentally sound smart. You got to be playing at California, being in that school. So, and Mullins, coming from Michigan, they love their running backs over there. So, what are you going to get and how you develop him? So, good draft for them. So, definitely like it. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. Definitely solid draft by the Titans. Let's see how they put it all together, man. Let's take a look at this roster, man, and let's see how they stack up with this division. Calvin Ridley's still there. Okay. I mean, he's still there, man. You got Van Jefferson, you got Tyler Lockett. Not bad. You add Dike in there, and
Restrepo too. Forgot about that.
Yeah, Xavier Restrepo. Very good prospect, man. Too slot guy, man. That we talked to at the Senior Bowl. you got Dan Moore, over there at left tackle. Hopefully he can hold that down for you, man. You added Kevin Zeiler, J.C. Latham, right tackle, Peter Skoronsky, left guard, and Lloyd Cushenberry, center. I don't think it's that bad.
No, it's
for real. Like they might have the most solid offensive line out of this division. The tight end, I can't pronounce his name. Okonkwo. He's very underrated as well. You got Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears too. You got them in the backfield, man. Two solid running backs there. You put Mullins in the mix. Nice little three-headed running back rotation there. I mean, I think this is a solid. It's not bad as people think. It is dependent upon what you get out of Cam Ward year one. He's got to hit the ground running. Because we know what Will Levis is. Now, looking at the defense, I don't think it's that bad either. I mean, Simmons is still there. You got Trevon J. Sweat. You added Jones and Barton. You got Ladarius Sneed. Forgot about him. He's there at the corner. Xavier Woods, you add him into the mix. So secondaries are okay. It's pretty good. But that front is solid. And adding 0-2 to it. I mean, but y'all break it down, man. Talk to me about this roster, man. I think it might be a best rock. Might be one of the better rosters in the division.
Yeah. I'm actually intrigued by this roster.
I don't know. Call me crazy.
If you go with a plan with Cam Ward, as far as spreading that ball around, you got two good running backs in Pollard and Tajay Spears. That's a 1-2 punch. Okonkwo is the speed tight end. He can make some things. You got Josh Wiley as the guy that can move the chains. I think like 6'7", 6'8" out of Cincinnati. Their offensive line is way better than I thought. They have a solid offensive line. They do. So if you could go out there and protect and allow to run the ball and allow Cam Ward to get the ball to Tyler Lockett and Calvin Ridley, you got Restrepo, who's already accustomed to, so he's going to get some playing time. You got Iron Manor coming off the bench, Dyke coming off the bench. Yo, they might got a little something in the AFC South and they defense. With the signing of Draymond Jones and 0-2 coming over there, you still got Jeffrey Simmons, Tavondre Sweat, Arden Key, L'Jarius Sneed, Xavier Woods, Hooker. Yo. Hey. If you got a team that can develop and coach, you might scare some people over here with this roster, man. This is going to be intriguing. I'm going to watch the Titans this upcoming season, man. Big Pat's game plans, man. I'm going to love doing game plans for the Titans, man. I like this team. I like them. Go ahead, Coach.
I love this roster. I love it. I talk about the offensive line, and Pat just said it. Don't forget Pete Skoronsky. He was drafted. He was drafted from Northwestern, and he played tackle. And now they bumped him inside to guard, which is where he's probably better suited. Great. I mean, you have some great receivers to start. Good tight end, good running back. So it's like you're looking at this, and you're like, and then when you go to the defense, you're playing an odd front. So now it just adds even more to the fact where with Jeffrey Simmons, with Sweat, with Joseph Day, you have some good
nasty work, yo.
It's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm sitting here and I'm saying I love this team. New coaching staff. Again, I'm not saying they're making the playoffs this year, but can they give me double the wins that they got last year and be competitive in all their games? Yes.
Yeah.
And here's my unpopular opinion. 2 to 3 years, they're winning and they are owning this division within the next 2 to 3 years. if your head coach can develop and these players develop with him, I really feel that, and they add a few more pieces as they go along, they're going to be owning this division, because the division is not, that far off for anyone, really running away with it. Well, guess what? Tennessee, bro, you got something there.
I'm gonna take it a step further, and I'm gonna say they can compete in this division this year. Let's take a look at their schedule. So the Titans, now they start off with Denver. You got the Rams, so 2 tough games out the gate. But I mean, look, fellas, the Colts, that's a division game. The Texans, yeah, they the Texans, but we talking about if you're gonna compete in your division, you got to beat the Texans. So if you get them 2 games, you got Arizona, Vegas, New England, and then the Colts. You tell me they can't win them games? And then you talking about the Chargers. We'll see. That's gonna be tough. You probably lose that one, but then you got the Texans again, Seattle, Jacksonville, Cleveland. Come on, man. They can compete this year. Talk to me.
I'll break it down for you.
Who's their last game?
Kansas City.
The Kansas.
No,
Hold on. I got
16.
it. Why is it cut off? I'm sorry, y'all.
No, I'll tell you in 1 second. Hold on. I have it up. Their last game is at Jacksonville.
At
Oh,
Jacksonville.
yeah.
Oh, they have. Oh, no, they have New Orleans week 17,
New
and then
Orleans,
at Jacksonville. So it's 2 games missing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So hold on.
Ooh.
I got y'all. That's why we do what we do.
There you go.
Boom. We
Okay,
good.
yeah. So
Wow.
I'm gonna break it down for you. Week 1, they gonna get smoked. Denver gonna smoke.
Yeah.
I think they get beat by the Rams too. I think that defensive line is just gonna, finish them off. I think it'll be a good game, but they get beat 0-2. I think they could beat the Colts. I think that first Texans game, if they beat them Texans in that week 4 game and they start off 2-2, they might go 6-2. I know they could beat Arizona. I know they could beat Las Vegas. I know they could beat New England, and I know they could beat the Colts again.
Yeah.
Then you get to Los Angeles 6-3. Then you
get
might
a bye.
lose that second game. Yeah, you get a bye, but you might lose that second game to the Texans 6-4. I think they beat Seattle. I think they can beat Seattle 7-4. Jacksonville 8-4. Cleveland 9-4. Might slip up against San Francisco 9-5. Might slip up against Kansas City 9-6.
New Orleans.
Dare I say these guys could go 10-7?
You, bro.
9-8.
They are a
7-7?
sleeper team, bro. They are a sleeper cell right now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they are the sleeper cell in the AFC.
If there's a team that can take this division,
they're
from
built
the Texans
well.
this year, it's them.
They're built well. They're built in the trenches. That's where they're built.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why they might have the advantage in their own division, because the trenches is not well taken care of in the AFC South, but they're the ones that did it. So if they can go 4-2 in their division, I can see them winning 8 to 9 games, like Coach said. I can really see they might get 10 if they really can.
Over under is 5.5. I'm guessing you're going over. Coach, where you at?
I'm taking over. I look, I was too optimistic about Indianapolis earlier. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I do understand where Pat is coming from. I really do. And this team seems very exciting. I'm like, NFL League Pass, I might be just getting that just because I want to see them play.
Yeah.
I just want to see them play their games. It's like, whoa. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it, and it's just like, wow. I understand where Pat is coming from, and I don't think it's delusional based on the roster construction. Now you do have a new head coach, so that's something that pulls you back a little bit. So all right, but if he doesn't slip up and he, can he do what whatchamacallit did with Houston his first time there? Is it possible? Yes, it is. It's very possible. And I've been saying it from the get-go. This division is open, really. And maybe this is the team, like Pat is saying, that could, what? People are going to, they're just going to, Titans. Go ahead, Pat.
Let me say this, Coach. If the Tennessee Titans can run the ball and be decent stopping you running the ball on them, they might be a surprise team, bro, because this is really set up for Cam Ward to look like a superhero. Keep it a buck, because they got 5 receivers that can play at any time. With those 2 rookies in Dike and Iron Manor and Restrepo.
Yep.
And he already has rapport with Cam Ward. Shout out to NYG that he's been pointing that out for the past 3 years. Get that quarterback's college receiver to come over there with him. So he'll be comfortable in the very beginning of his career. You're not forcing him to learn a whole bunch of the cast of brand new players. At least give him that one player that he could depend on and knows what's going on.
The Giants did it with Dart. Then they bring this guy in from
Juice Wells.
Yeah,
he brought up old Juice Wells. So man, I'm glad we did this breakdown, because now I'm really I want to. They're almost like how the Texans were when they got C.J. Stroud from me. I wanted to see what they can do, and it turned out I was right. So you can see a Tennessee Titans, Houston Texans type run. Because if that Texans offensive line in the trenches is as bad as I think it's going to be, the Titans can take advantage of that. They can
see the defensive line that they got. That's what I'm saying. Look at the Titans defensive line and look at the offensive lines in their division. They can beat up on those offensive lines, bro. They can. Talk about it. We talking about Jeffrey Simmons, Joseph Day and Sweat.
And then you got your edge guys.
You got your edge guys and your middle linebackers, and you got your what's his name? Who you interviewed? O2. Yeah, he's coming in. He's gonna be in the mix. He's gonna be a beast. I'm telling you. Mark my word. That kid, once he
Lorenzo Carter. We can say what we want as Giants fans, but if you keep him healthy, we know that he can be a serviceable edge player. So, and he's coming off the bench. You don't have to rely on him as a normal starter every down. So, bro, And I love the cover team too.
If you watch the Titans last year, they lost a couple of games because of the quarterback play, just making boneheaded mistakes. So if Cam Ward can come in there and play within the system and not make those crucial mistakes, as you see, people like Pollard, man, they gotta. They might be a team that's surprising people. Even like the Titans. You gotta look at how they were constructed.
Yeah, man. Tennessee Titans are building something, man. And shout out to our fellas from the draft, man. That we talked to down there, Pat. Smoke and they cover the Titans. And hopefully we can bring them on the show one day. But this Titans team, man, is my sleeper team for this division. This is my sleeper team for this division. Now, I want to do the whole AFC before I pick them in the AFC to be a sleeper. And what I mean by sleeper, I mean somebody that's going to exceed their projected win total by a lot. And I think that 5.5, I'm going way over that right now. This team can win 8-9 games, which I think.
Yeah.
No, you're right, bro.
I say if everything goes right for them, they could get 10. But I definitely see them getting 8 or 9. Give or take, if they could beat Arizona or somebody like San Francisco, if they could beat them, definitely get them 8 or 9 wins for sure. Yeah, I like this roster, man. This is an up and coming roster, and they're gonna build together. They're all young. I think the oldest is Jeffrey Simmons. He's around 30, 29, 30. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Most definitely, man. But this was our AFC South preview, man. I think we all feel like this division needs to get better in the trenches, specifically with the offensive line. But this is a division that's very, very close. It's very, very close. It's closer than a lot of people think. A lot of people think the Texans is just above and beyond all the rest of these teams. But I'm telling you, this Tennessee Titans team is a team to watch for. And, you know, you don't know what you're going to get from the Colts or the Jaguars, but they could always be in the mix. This is a tight division, man, overall. You know, in my opinion, this is a real tight division. I'm not going to put a winner or any type of prediction like that. I'm just telling you, watch out for the Tennessee Titans. That's my unpopular opinion, man. But this was good, man. This was good, man. Give me your final thoughts on the AFC South, man. Start with you. Let's start with Coach.
Surprise team, which we just talked about. It's definitely the Titans. Definitely going to be a lot more competitive overall from top to bottom. Titans did a good job, and one of the key factors that for me is the offensive line. The other three teams didn't do as well as a job in the trenches offensively as the Titans did, but I think it's going to be a battle with all four of the teams. They know each other well, so they're going to be able to battle each other out. Tennessee, starting with a new coaching staff, new quarterbacks, going to take some time. I understand that. Like we've talked about, the opportunity is there for them to definitely go over the 5.5 projection in terms of the wins. Best case scenario, 10 wins. But I definitely think 7-9 is fair in my opinion. So the Jaguars and the Colts, they're going to be battling out for third and fourth. The Colts right now, I think might end up coming in last, with the Jaguars just maybe a game or two ahead of them. And Houston, while they have won the division the last 2 years, a couple of bad games here or there, and could we be looking at a new leader in the division? It's there. So but it's going to be an interesting year in the AFC South. Is to watch all these games and see how these teams progress. So
yeah, I think just to get my opinion on it, I think this division is wide open, like Coach says. But if I have to say one team has an advantage in this division, I'm going to say the Titans with the element of surprise. Because Cam Ward is a rookie. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened with the Houston Texans. CJ Ward was a rookie. CJ Stroud was a rookie. You really didn't know what was going on with CJ Stroud, and they came in, and when he turned out to be who he was, they ran off with they got that division win over the Colts when they couldn't beat them in that last game of the season. So, and I think the Titans have the advantage in the trenches in this division. And when you have the advantage in the trenches, you have the advantage as a team. So hopefully they could build on that, and really do some things over there in Tennessee. But I still have the Texans as my winner of AFC South until proven otherwise. You have to allow them to have that crown as far as the best team in the AFC South, because none of the other teams have really proven anything. But if they are dethroned, I do believe the Titans have the ability to do that. They're just young. You know what I'm saying? So if they can get through those growing pains and, really, start playing like veterans, they got a chance to run off a lot of games, man. But we'll see, man. Love doing this, man. It really showed me, a different side of the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, I'm going to be watching them this upcoming season, man. But yeah, that's what I think, bro.
Definitely, man. Definitely gives you a different perspective. on the Titans and all these teams here. All these teams, as I mentioned, it's going to be a tough division, man. But that is going to be it for us in the AFC South. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We coming right back at you with our next division preview, which will be the AFC North, man. And that's going to be...
that's going to be
Yes.
arm, bro. Look at Coach.
I gotta call my pops about that one down.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
That's gonna be vicious,
a good one.
But yeah, man. It's your boy, Unpopular Opinion Sports, with my two co-hosts, man, my two bros, my Ace Boom Coons, man, Big Pat and Coach Ed, man. And until the next one, we're gonna be up out of here, man. Y'all know what it is. Doses.